A few hundred miles north of Jiangnan headquarters city, there was a military base. Rumble, the train slowly stopped at the military base station. One by one fully armed warriors got off the train. There were more than 20 of them and they were naturally divided into 4 small teams. LuoFeng, when we fighters go out to hunt monsters, we'll go to the military base to replenish our supplies. Qinggu pointed at a place in front of them. There was an iron tower that was about 50 to 60 meters tall. Do you see this tower? The entire country of China and even the entire world. In any military region, there will be a special area designated as a supply base for martial artists, specifically for martial artists to rest. This fighter supply base usually has a lighthouse like this. It's meant to light the way home for us fighters. LuoFeng nodded. The fighter supply base was located within the military base. There were many quiet buildings and the environment was very good. Firehammer Squad, you will live and rest in E6. An officer of the supply base passed the key to the captain of the Firehammer Squad, Gao Feng, and patted Gao Feng's shoulder with a smile. Old Gao, how long are you planning to hunt this time? If you get any good stuff, feel free to sell it to the Underground Alliance. I'll definitely give you a high price. Inside the supply base, there were quite a few people wearing military uniforms. However, in reality, the service personnel of the fighter supply base came from the Dojo of Limits, the Thunder Dojo, the government's army, and the Underground Alliance. They were there to provide services, but at the same time, they would also purchase some valuable monster materials from the fighters. Ah sure, Gao Feng laughed. Hurry up and arrange for some people to equip us for lunch. This supply base wasn't too big. E6 over there. The Firehammer Squad quickly found the 3-story building that represented E6. The key with the microchip swiped across the door, and the door to the 3-story building opened. Before the Firehammer party left the supply base, the right to use this small building belonged to the Firehammer party. Let's lie down and sleep for a bit. I didn't sleep well last night. Qinggu put down the 2 big metal boxes on his body, jumped directly onto the sofa and stretched on the sofa. If you want to rest, then rest. We'll officially leave tonight, so make sure you all stay alert, commanded Captain Gao Feng. Understood. Steel Spear Zhang Ku and the twin Moon Scimitar brothers all laughed as they responded, clearly knowing the rules. Leaving at night? LuoFeng was shocked. LuoFeng, look at the weather right now. It was the end of August, the hottest time of the year. Carrying hundreds of kilograms of stuff on his back on such a hot day? No matter how much water you bring, it won't be enough. At that time, you can only drink water from the river. Qinggu smiled as he looked at LuoFeng. It's cooler at night, so isn't it better to travel? It can also save water. LuoFeng smiled awkwardly. Although he had read many posts, he really didn't notice this point. LuoFeng's gaze passed through the window and saw a figure in the resupplying base. Brother Qin, look, isn't that Zhang Ze Hu? At this time, Zhang Ze Hu's body was wrapped in gauze, and there were faint traces of blood on the sandbag. Clearly, Zhang Ze Hu was injured and was currently recuperating in the supply base. Qinggu also turned around. Yes, it's Zhang Ze Hu. Hey. Qinggu walked to the door and shouted proudly, Mountain-splitting tiger, what happened to you? Weren't you fine last time? How did you get injured like this in the blink of an eye? Zhang Ze Hu, who was walking and chatting with his companions, couldn't help but to turn his head and look. With a glance, he saw Qinggu, LuoFeng, and the others at the entrance of the building. He was so angry that his teeth itched, but he suppressed his anger and instead laughed loudly. Chinda Pao, your Firehammer Squad is also an elite squad, so why did you bring a newbie? Haha, aren't you afraid that your entire squad will be dragged to death by this burden? Usually, elite squads that work well together rarely bring newbies. Because even if a newbie has a good fitness level, he doesn't have any experience. If he drops the ball at a crucial time, he can easily drag down the older members. After Zhang Ze Hu and Qinggu mocked each other for a bit, because the captain dual windhammer, Gao Feng scolded him, Zhang Ze Hu didn't say anything else. Even though he sometimes dares to compete with Qinggu, he doesn't dare to compete with Gao Feng. This was because Gao Feng used cold weapons while Qinggu used hot weapons. With firearms, even if you reach the max, you can at most reach the beginner warlord level. Because firearms and other firearms can usually only threaten beginner commander level monsters. Zhang Ze Hu is only a little bit away from the warlord level. Fuck, who would have thought that this Luo Feng would actually join the Firehammer Squad? Zhang Ze Hu and his teammates walked on the road as he cursed. I thought he would join a normal fighter squad. That way, I would be able to teach him a lesson and let him know the consequences of messing with me. But he actually joined the Firehammer Squad. Zhang Ze Hu clenched his teeth in anger. Who, the young man beside Qinggu just now, is that Luo Feng who made you spend 100 million? The one-eyed middle-aged man on the side spoke. Yeah, that's him. Zhang Ze Hu's eyes flashed with an ominous light. This little bastard, I thought he wouldn't go too far. After that negotiation, the security bureau directly came to my nephew's house. And this kid actually directly reported it to the security bureau. I was forced to immediately donate 100 million in my nephew's name to the country, allowing my nephew to obtain the title of one-star citizen. But even so, my nephew will still be locked up for a few months. Thinking of his brother's anxiousness at the time, as well as Zhang Haobai's fear when he was taken away by the security bureau, Zhang Ze Hu became even more furious. Previously, he had made a promise to his elder brother and nephew. Although he later spent 100 million to protect his nephew. But Zhang Haobai was imprisoned for a few months and suffered a bit, so he couldn't escape. Forget it, don't think too much. It will do your nephew good to suffer a little. The one-eyed middle-aged man said with a faint smile, "You should make the most of your time and rest well. I estimate that your injuries will heal in another 3 days. At that time we can set off and continue to deal with that old man. Once we kill that old fellow our team will be rich." "Yes." Zhang Ze Hu heavily nodded, then glanced at the distant E6 building and sneered, "I'm willing to bet that this Luo Feng will either die or be heavily injured the first time he enters the wilderness." "Haha, you sure have a lot of resentment towards him. However, injuries are unavoidable since it's your first time in the wilderness," laughed the one-eyed middle-aged man. In the evening the 6 members of the fully armed Firehammer squad left the resupplying base and entered the wilderness. "Chingu, give me one of your metal boxes," said the captain Gao Feng. "Haha, sorry for the trouble, Captain. I can carry these 2 boxes for a short period of time, but I won't be able to if I carry them for a long period of time." As he said that, Chingu handed one of the large metal boxes to the captain. Gao Feng easily received it with one hand and carried it on his back. This bit of weight was nothing to the strongest fighter of the Firehammer squad, Gao Feng. Ka. Chingu opened the other box. Inside was a completely silver-gray machine gun. The muzzle of the gun flashed with a metallic luster. Other than this machine gun, there were also large amounts of chains of bullets. At a glance, it looked like they were densely packed together, filling up the entire metal box. One could only imagine how many bullets there were. "Brother Chin, what kind of gun is this?" asked Luo Feng curiously. "M81 model, 12.7 mm caliber. It can fire between 50-300 rounds per minute, and it can be adjusted." Chingu laughed proudly. "The entire body of the gun is mixed with some grade 3 Kuluo alloy. Even if it continuously fires bullets, the heat from the barrel won't affect the accuracy of the bullets." Luo Feng was confused. "Brother Chin, why aren't you using the Vulcan cannon? Isn't the Vulcan series of machine guns widely known to be powerful?" "You noob." Chingu glared. The spear Zhang Ku on the side also laughed. "Luo Feng, the Vulcan series heavy machine gun is indeed powerful. However, the amount of bullets used by the Vulcan series is insane. 7,000 rounds per minute. Some of the higher-end ones are even faster. Do you know what that means? 7,000 rounds per minute. And bullets that can threaten a low-level warlord-level monster weigh at least 50 grams. 10,000 bullets would weigh 500 kilograms. You're carrying 500 kilograms of bullets on your back and you're traveling a few hundred miles. When you're killing the monster, the Vulcan cannon will run out of bullets within a minute," laughed Zhang Ku as he looked at Luo Feng. "What do you think of the Vulcan series?" Luo Feng realized. He really didn't understand this. Yeah, the weight of the bullets is indeed a huge problem. 7,000 rounds per minute, how many bullets do you need to bring to play? Other than the army, or those who specialize in dealing with monsters, or those who specialize in transporting large amounts of bullets and Vulcan machine guns. Normally people like us can't use those kinds of machine guns. "We don't have that many bullets," laughed Chingu. "I brought a total of 10,000 bullets this time. I also need the captain to help me carry some of them." Chingu's body was wrapped in a chain of bullets and he held the machine gun in his hand. Luo Feng and the 2 of them were in the middle of the group, protected by the others. The twin moon scimitar brothers were at the front of the group. Captain Gao Feng and Zhang Ku were at the back. "If we follow this highway we'll arrive at our destination. Number 0201 city," said Captain Gao Feng. Luo Feng couldn't help but to look at the highway in front of him. Highways only exist in legends for humans living in headquarter cities. The highway under his feet has long been ruined, and there were quite a few cracks on the road. With a glance you could see broken cars, vans, trucks, etc. everywhere on this highway. Even some broken tires were lying everywhere. From time to time, blackened bloodstains could be seen on the ground. "Let's go." The reddish rays of the setting sun shone on the silent and dilapidated highway that had been in disrepair for decades. The 6 members of the Firehammer squad were advancing along this highway. Howl. The roars of monsters came from the fields on both sides of the highway and the ruined villages. Luo Feng could even see the shadows of quite a few monsters. The other 5 members of the Firehammer squad were very relaxed, but Luo Feng didn't dare to relax at all. He couldn't relax at all. Because he could see the existence of monsters everywhere. "Okay Luo Feng, there's a horned boar that's between AG and F grade. I'll leave it to you." Captain Gao Feng's voice rose. "This is your first battle in the wilderness. Luo Feng, this is your first battle, don't get careless. The wild nature of these monsters is much stronger than the monsters in the military." Chingu reminded seriously. Luo Feng laughed. He could feel Brother Chen's concern. In this Firehammer squad, the ones closest to him are undoubtedly Chingu and Zhang Ku, who live in the same Mingyue sector. As for Captain Gao Feng and the Wei brothers, after all they did not know each other. As a newcomer, it would not be easy for him to gain the acknowledgement of Gao Feng and the other 2. Good luck Luo Feng. Right now your speed and reaction speed have just reached the high-level warrior level's physical fitness standard. Your strength is close to that of a high-level warrior. Dealing with this horned wild boar shouldn't be a problem. Iron Spear Zhang Ku also gave a rare encouragement. The other 3, Captain Gao Feng and the Wei Jia brothers, all looked at Luo Feng. Chi. Luo Feng pulled out his ghost blade, held the shield in his left hand and gripped the ghost blade in his right. He slightly smiled. "Captain Brother Chen, watch me get the horn of this horned boar." As Luo Feng said that, he swiftly moved forward. He watched as Luo Feng left. "Captain, aren't you asking too much of Luo Feng to fight a near F-grade horned boar in his first battle?" Chingu couldn't help but to say, "Even though our Firehammer squad should test Luo Feng, we have to do it step by step. It's better to get a G-class monster first. Yes, we can't be too hasty, Zhang Ze Hu also said. Captain's arrangement is not a problem. The eldest of the Wei Jia brothers, Wei Tai, said in a low voice, LuoFeng's body fitness level isn't any weaker than that monster's. Even though it's a bit harder, he should be able to win after suffering a bit. This is his first time in the wilderness. Zhang Ze Hu was a little dissatisfied. So what if it's the first time? I don't want him to be a burden to us. Otherwise, how would we dare to hunt powerful warrior-level monsters with a newbie? Wei Qing frowned. At this moment, of the 5 old members of the Firehammer squad, Qinggu and Zhang Ze Hu obviously sided with Luo Feng, while the Wei Jia brothers looked at Luo Feng with suspicion. Stop arguing, Gao Feng said. Qinggu and the others quietened down. Watch the battle between Luo Feng and the horned boar, said Gao Feng expressionlessly. Luo Feng was like an agile leopard as he swiftly scuttled behind an overturned car on the highway. He looked towards the horned boar not far away. This horned boar's entire body was covered in black fur, like black steel spikes, and its dark gray horn was like a sharp knife. Under the afterglow of the evening sun, the single-horned knife reflected a cold light. If one were to say that the iron fur wild boar was like a heavy Hummer during the warrior combat assessment, it was wild and ferocious. The feeling that this single-horned wild boar gave off was that it was agile and valiant. This is my first battle, I must fight beautifully. The reason I was able to join the Firehammer squad was partly because of Director Zhuge's request, but more importantly, it was because of Brother Qin and Brother Zhang's help. Luo Feng was very clear on one thing. It's very hard for a rookie to join an elite warlord-level squad. Captain Gao Feng and the Wei Jia brothers are clearly suspicious of him, so he has to prove himself through battle. Luo Feng stared at the hunting horn boar in front of him. The 3 levels of H, G and F respectively correspond to beginner, intermediate and advanced beast soldiers. Clearly this horned boar in front of him is close to the F level. Roar roar. The horned boar let out a roar and scanned its surroundings with killing intent. It found me. Luo Feng's heart rate sped up and he was a bit excited. Boom! The horned boar ferociously sprinted as if it had turned into a speeding tank. It directly rammed into the broken car that Luo Feng was hiding behind. Luo Feng was like an agile monkey as he swiftly dodged. With a rumble, the car was sent flying. At the same time, it rolled a few times on the highway. The body of the car, which has been exposed to the elements for dozens of years, directly split apart. The wheels also rolled on the highway for a while before falling. The moment Luo Feng dodged, he immediately charged towards the horned boar. Bastard, die! Luo Feng roared. His entire body was like a bolt of lightning as he directly shot towards the horned boar. The ghost blade in his hand instantly drew a cold light as it slashed towards the horned boar's neck. The horned boar that sent the car flying didn't seem to be able to turn in time, but when Luo Feng got close to it, whoosh, a black shadow came towards Luo Feng's head. So fast Luo Feng jumped in shock. He exerted force in his legs and barely managed to twist his body to dodge the black shadow. This black shadow was the horned boar's iron whip-like tail. Piu! Piu! After whipping its tail, the horned boar's agility instantly soared and it ferociously pounced towards Luo Feng. Its thick iron hooves and sharp horn directly stabbed towards Luo Feng. Damn, this horned boar is way too fast. Luo Feng immediately took a step back and raised the shield in his hand. Peng! The shield and the horned boar's iron hooves fiercely clashed. At the moment of impact, Luo Feng used the rebounding force to swiftly dive backwards. He rolled on the ground and the horned boar chased after him. Luo Feng flipped and stepped on the body of an old truck, and with another flash he hid behind the truck. The truck's obstruction caused the horned boar's rapid charge to be ineffective. The 5 members of the Firehammer squad who watched from afar slightly nodded their heads. Captain Luo Feng's reaction isn't bad, right? Laughed Qinggu. Captain Gao Feng slightly smiled and nodded. Yeah, not bad. I thought that since it's his first time facing this horned boar, he would suffer a bit. But I didn't think that his reaction speed would be this fast. Also, his fundamentals are pretty good, and his shield's deflection was very ingenious. His movements were like flowing water. This Luo Feng wasn't even injured by the horned boar's attack. The Wei Jia brothers, who had a cold expression on their faces, loosened a bit. Wei Tai, Wei Qing, Luo Feng isn't bad, right? Zhang Ze Hu also let out a smile. This battle isn't over yet, so it's hard to say, said Wei Tai coldly. The 5 members of the Firehammer squad continued to watch the battle between Luo Feng and the horned boar. Luo Feng was extremely focused as he thought to himself, this horned boar is so sneaky. At the beginning, it purposely showed weakness to me. Then it suddenly attacked me with its tail. At the same time, it attacked with its hooves and horned blade. And then it charged crazily at the end. Thankfully, I've been practicing the 9-stage Thunder Blade these past few days, so my control over my body's strength has improved. If he hadn't been practicing the 9-stage Thunder Blade for the past month, I'm afraid that Luo Feng would have to use his spiritual force to protect himself from this wave of attacks from the horned boar. Roar! The horned boar howled. It didn't stupidly charge into the truck, but instead jumped over it and swiftly charged towards Luo Feng. Bastard, this time you're dead for sure. Luo Feng ferociously kicked a broken tire on the side. As if it was shot by a catapult, the tire swiftly flew towards the horned boar. The horned boar didn't slow down at all. It only slightly lowered its head. The horn on its head was incomparably sharp, and it directly sliced the tire in half. After that, the tire fell off. and after Luo Feng kicked the tire, he immediately charged towards the horned boar. Roar! As the horned boar knocked the tire away, it immediately turned its head and stabbed towards Luo Feng with its horned blade. Die! At this moment, Luo Feng's body was like a butterfly as he nimbly spun and skillfully dodged the horned blade. As he spun, the ghost blade in Luo Feng's hand borrowed the force of the spin and instantly struck. The ghost blade's light sped up in an arc. Piu! As fast as lightning, this spinning blade directly chopped into the horned boar's neck. Pucci, Luo Feng clearly felt the toughness of the horned boar's fur and the toughness of its skin. No wonder normal bullets can't break through its skin. Fresh red blood seeped out. Luo Feng's blade only managed to cut about 5 centimeters into the horned boar's neck before it stopped. Roar! The horned boar madly howled and ferociously charged towards Luo Feng. The heavily injured horned boar became even more insane. What? What a nimble technique. The Wei Jia brothers' faces were filled with shock. He can actually dodge the horned boar's stab so skillfully, the Wei Jia brothers' older brother, Wei Tai, exclaimed, unbelievable. And he dared to spin in front of the horned boar's horn. Isn't he afraid that the horned boar's horn will pierce through his body? Too skillful. Is he just lucky or does he actually have skill? That spin seemed simple but it revealed Luo Feng's amazing technique. Good. Beautiful, Qinggu and Zhang Ze couldn't help but to cheer. This kid has skill, Gao Feng smiled. In that dangerous situation he dared to do that and succeeded. His technique is definitely not normal. And he grasped the timing very well. However, the hardest part about monsters is their life force. It won't be easy to kill this horned boar. The 5 members of the Firehammer squad, including the Wei Jia brothers, all let out a smile. The 5 of them continued to watch the battle between the crazed horned boar and Luo Feng. Smelly blood flowed down the thick skin of the horned boar's neck and dripped onto the dusty highway. The horned boar's eyes flashed with a crazy light. With a low growl, the horned boar madly charged towards Luo Feng like lightning again and again. Hooves, horn, tail, these 3 attacks were endless. With an injury to the neck, the agility of turning my head has decreased by quite a bit. Luo Feng nimbly dodged. During the fighter combat assessment, he had to face the attacks of 7 H-class monsters at the same time to hone his movement technique. The intensity of the attacks from the 7 H-class monsters was slightly lower than that of the one-horned wild boar, which was nearing the F-class, but not by much. Whoosh. Instead of retreating, Luo Feng moved forward and dodged to the side. The horn of the horned boar was only 3 centimeters away from Luo Feng's body. However, these 3 centimeters were like a chasm. The horned boar couldn't hurt Luo Feng at all. Attack. The ghost blade in Luo Feng's hand fiercely chopped from above. With an ear-piercing whistling sound, the horned boar immediately roared in anger. Its 4 hooves abruptly exerted force in an attempt to dodge Luo Feng's blade. However, Luo Feng's blade was too fast. All that could be heard was the sound of the blade cutting into flesh. Gee. Another slash landed on the neck. Even though it wasn't in the same position as before, this slash went in about 8 centimeters deep. I was injured last time. Next time, its neck defense will be even weaker. Luo Feng immediately dodged and retreated as he chopped. At the same time Luo Feng slashed, he immediately dodged and retreated, easily dodging the wild horned boar's revenge attack. And then Luo Feng once again got close. Ho, ho, the horned boar let out an angry roar. Last time. Luo Feng once again took 3 steps and created a blur, once again dodging the horned boar's attack. Luo Feng's sharp blade came along with those agile steps. Pucci. At the beginning it was quite difficult for the blade to cut down, but after cutting in 12 centimeters, the resistance immediately decreased. Luo Feng's ghost blade cut down 2/3 of the horned boar's head. After that he swiftly pulled out his blade and retreated. Fresh blood gushed out from the huge wound like a fountain. With a shrill roar, the horned wild boar's body twitched, and its 4 hooves stomped madly on the ground, cracking the asphalt pavement. Then the unconscious horned wild boar crashed into the curved guardrail on the side of the highway, breaking the guardrail and rolling down. The voice gradually weakened and there was no more response. Luo Feng stood on the broken fence of the highway and looked at the horned boar's corpse that was about to fall off. The blood flow had slowed down so it was clear that it was almost completely drained. After all, the amount of blood that had flowed out was probably enough to fill a bucket. Dad. Luo Feng jumped down, and then his ghost blade went along the head of the horned boar and plucked off its horn. The most precious part of the horned wild boar was this horn. Watching from afar, the 5 members of the Firehammer party could not help but let out a long sigh. Pervert. Monster. These 2 words came out of the Wei brothers' mouths. How is it? My recommendation is not bad, right? Qinggu shouted proudly. If the 5 of them were surprised before, they were shocked now. Unbelievable. Zhang Ze couldn't help but to exclaim. The captain of the twin wind hammers, Gao Feng, stared at Luo Feng who was cutting off the horn from afar. How can this Luo Feng's technique be so powerful? In terms of pure speed, the horned boar is even a bit faster than him. But he dodged so many times just now with such ease. And he did it so naturally every time. If he can maintain this technique for hundreds and thousands of times, then he'll be in the Ru-Wei class. He's only 18. If he's in the Ru-Wei class, he should be sent to the dojo world headquarters for special training. The Wei family's boss, Wei Tai, couldn't help but to say. Ru-Wei class. Martial artists of the same level were able to make precise and subtle dodges every time. They used the smallest amount of force to make the most perfect dodging. This kind of dodging is extremely difficult. A normal fighter can do it once or twice, but 100 or 1,000 times can do it. That means he's truly in the Ru Wei class. We got a treasure. Gao Feng let out a smile. The second brother of the Wei family, Wei Qing, nodded. Yeah, after some training our Firehammer squad will have another backbone. Me and the second brother will teach him, said Wei Tai. Qinggu and Zhang Ku both laughed. As veteran fighters who have walked the line between life and death countless times, they were very clear that some so-called geniuses have great fitness levels. However, when they actually fight against monsters, they won't even be able to display 10% of their true strength. So they usually look down on these so-called geniuses. True experts have gone through countless life and death battles. And Luo Feng's first performance was already this strong. Clearly he's also very strong in battle. Captain Luo Feng ran over from afar. This horn? You killed it, so of course this horn belongs to you, said Gao Feng. Luo Feng nodded and didn't refuse. Among monsters, the materials from soldier-level monsters aren't worth much, because soldier-level monsters can be killed with firearms. Even a beginner-level fighter with a machine gun, as long as his marksmanship is good, he can easily kill soldier-level monsters one after another. So soldier-level monsters aren't worth much. If I sell this horn to the dojo, it should be worth $3,000. I can also get a few contribution points. If I sell it to the Underground Alliance, it should be worth 5,000, laughed Qinggu. Only the materials from commander-level monsters are worth a lot of money. And the important materials from a horde leader-level monster are worth even more. Luo Feng, your performance just now barely passed, said the older brother of the Weijia brothers, Wei Tai, with a straight face. Brother Tai. Luo Feng looked over. Brother Tai, please teach me. Your technique's basics aren't bad, but your efficiency is way too low. Wei Tai's face was cold. In a bit, watch how I kill a F-grade monster. Luo Feng killed a monster that was nearing the F-grade. After rushing for a bit, Luo Feng and the others met a F-grade cat-type, ocelot monster. This ocelot had stripes on its body and was as sturdy as a calf. In terms of agility and savagery, it was much better than the horned boar. Watch me, said Wei Tai coldly. A shield in his left hand and a scimitar in his right. Wei Tai swiftly charged towards the ocelot. Brother Tai is an advanced warrior, so his fitness level is the same as this F-grade ocelot monster. Luo Feng watched carefully and saw that Wei Tai didn't dodge at all and just charged towards the ocelot in a straight line. No, to be more accurate, right when the ocelot roared and pounced towards Wei Tai. Wei Tai's body moved to the side and his shield collided with the ocelot. This collision caused the ocelot monster to lose its center of gravity and tilted to the side. An arc of cold light brushed past the shield, slicing through the ocelot's neck and throat, which was exposed due to the ocelot's unstable center of gravity. Blood gushed out like a fountain, and Wei Tai quickly retreated. He looked at the ocelot monster coldly as it roared in pain, and gradually fell to the ground, losing its breath. Wei Tai cut off the ocelot monster's tail and took out a nearly transparent tendon. He put it in his bag and walked back. Did you see that? My technique isn't as good as yours and the strength I used didn't surpass yours. However, I killed it in one move. Wei Tai looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng was still in shock. In the battle just now, life and death were decided in an instant. And just now, in order to kill the horned boar, he dodged its attacks time and time again and then attacked the horned boar's neck. It took quite a bit of effort to kill it. And that horned boar was much weaker than this ocelot monster. Think about it. Wei Tai didn't explain and let Luo Feng think about it by himself. Luo Feng was completely shocked. Wei Tai's speed and technique aren't anything to be proud of, but the effects are just that great. The best way to kill a monster is to aim for its weakness. The second son of the Wei family, Wei Qing, walked over and said indifferently, normally a walking monster's weakness is its eyes, but throat and mouth. The next weak point is its soft abdomen. And the next weak point is its neck. Luo Feng nodded. He knew this, but the monster moves so fast that it's hard to pierce its eyes. And the horned boar and the ocelot have their heads lowered, so it's hard to pierce their throats. Attacking the abdomen is also hard, so the neck is the easiest. It's hard to find an opportunity to attack its weakness. The monster isn't stupid, it will protect its weakness. But if there's no chance, we can create one. For example, just now, my brother made the ocelot monster lose its center of gravity through a sudden, slanted collision, and for a moment, it revealed its neck. In an instant, the scimitar pierced through the shield and into his neck. It instantly killed the ocelot monster. Wei Qing said coldly. Even my big brother's final slash was from under the shield, so the monsters couldn't react to it. Luo Feng nodded. Remember, learn to use your strengths, Wei Qing said. Do it in the most effective and concise way possible. Your body movements are very good, but you don't have to show off your body movements every time you kill monsters. The final goal of all your actions is to kill monsters in the most effective manner. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. Wei Qing revealed a rare smile. Let's go. Captain Gao Feng waved his hand and smiled. The Firehammer squad clearly wants to seriously nurture Luo Feng as the future backbone of the Firehammer squad. On the way, Wei Qing and Wei Tai continuously went out to deal with some monsters, leaving Luo Feng to deal with them himself. They taught Luo Feng by word and example, giving him some battle experience. Luo Feng's rate of improvement was just as shocking. Even the warlord-level fighter Gao Feng helped out a few times to teach Luo Feng. Luo Feng slowly understood that when killing monsters, you have to maximize the effects of each attack. And when he killed the horned boar for the first time, all those beautiful dodges were just for show and were ineffective. LuoFeng's attacks gradually became sharp, direct, concise, and efficient. 3 days later. On an old ring road, the 6 members of the Firehammer squad advanced. There are 2 F-grade Mastiff Lionhounds in front. LuoFeng, you go, commanded Captain Gao Feng. Yes, Captain. LuoFeng smiled as he ran towards the Mastiff Lionhounds. His speed wasn't too fast. Howl, howl. The 2 Mastiff Lionhounds howled as they charged towards LuoFeng. The Mastiff Lion monster's eyes were still filled with bloodlust. They didn't care about the human in front of them. When the distance between the 2 became close, LuoFeng let out a smile. His speed suddenly increased. The fur on the 2 Mastiff Lion monsters' bodies instantly stood up. However, LuoFeng instantly closed in. His feet took 4 weird steps, which was the technique, flowing light, from the 9-stage Thunderblade. As the Lion Mastiff's claws pounced towards him, LuoFeng twisted his body and accurately dodged the Lion Mastiff's claws. As the 2 of them passed each other, his ghost blade pierced out. It directly pierced into the neck. LuoFeng swiftly charged forward and then turned his head to look at the other Mastiff Lion monster. Howl. When the other Mastiff Lion monster saw its comrade's neck spurt out blood, it actually let out a low growl and swiftly left. Gao Feng, Qinggu, and the others of the Firehammer squad all let out a smile when they saw this. Even though LuoFeng can't catch up to the Wei Jia brothers in terms of experience. But because of his technique advantage, LuoFeng's damage isn't any less than the Wei Jia brothers. LuoFeng, let's hurry and enter the city. Mastiffs all live in groups. The Mastiff Lion that just ran away will soon bring a group of Mastiff Lion monsters over, laughed Qinggu. LuoFeng laughed as he met up with everyone. The 6 members of the Firehammer squad finally entered their destination 0201 city. The Firehammer squad quietly entered the rural area of number 0201 country-level city. LuoFeng, we've been following the highway for the past 3 days, so we've been going through desolate areas. As they walked, Qinggu lowered his voice and said, most of the monsters live in the cities in the built-up areas. Cities and other places are the truly dangerous places. Understood, Brother Qin, nodded LuoFeng. In the post, he's already seen the habits of the monsters. In the long war between the monsters and humans, the monsters discovered that if they live in an empty, desolate area without any cover, then the human army and fighters can lock onto them from afar. They can use heavy sniper rifles or even missiles to attack from afar. And in the city there are large amounts of buildings. As long as the monsters hide in the built-up areas, then the sniper rifle will have a hard time finding them, unless the sniper comes to the city. And once the human army enters the city and starts fighting with the monsters will have a huge advantage. The built-up areas are the monsters' paradise. Our Firehammer squad's target is naturally a commander-level monster. However, Qinggu reminded in a low voice, commander-level monsters already have a certain level of intelligence, which isn't much different from humans. A commander-level monster will order large amounts of soldier-level monsters to gather around it and listen to its commands. Almost every commander-level monster is surrounded by a large number of soldier-level monsters, so it's very hard to kill a commander-level monster. LuoFeng nodded. Not only is there a huge difference in strength between a soldier and a commander, the most important thing is intelligence. In order to stay alive, a commander-level monster will naturally gather large amounts of soldier-level monsters to protect it. Other than a few monsters that like to travel alone, most of the commanders have many soldier-level monsters around them. Everyone be careful. There's an ironclad bull's nest up ahead. Captain Gao Feng suddenly said, the leader of this iron-armored bull's nest should be a high-level beast general, and there are a lot of iron-armored bulls in this nest. Let's take a detour. Qinggu, don't shoot. If a steel-armored bull attacks, remember, kill it instantly and don't let it call for its comrades. Yes, Captain. The other 5 nodded. The rural area, the city. Unlike the desolate areas outside, this place is much more dangerous. Following a narrow path, the 6 members of the Firehammer squad carefully moved forward. Stop. The eldest of the Wei brothers, Wei Tai, who was standing at the front, raised his hand and stared ahead solemnly. In front of them was a gigantic iron fur wild boar lying on the ground. Beside it were 2 tiger mastiff monsters with their heads lowered as they devoured the meat in large mouthfuls. Suddenly, the tiger mastiff monsters raised their heads and looked at the Firehammer squad in the distance. Let's go around, don't attack, Gao Feng said softly. In the desolate area of the highway, LuoFeng and the others were very carefree, killing monsters whenever they wanted. But it was different in the city. LuoFeng and his group finally arrived at their first destination, a small sector in number 0201 city, Blue Sky Sector. The reason why the Blue Sky District was chosen as the first destination by the Firehammer squad was because there were 3 residential buildings up to 21 stories high in this district. Let's go to the rooftop. Everyone be careful. A monster might pop out of the building at any moment. Don't make too much noise. The 6 members of the Firehammer squad continued to move up the stairs. Howl, a low beast howl resonated within the building. The 6 members of the Firehammer squad slightly frowned. Wei Tai, who was at the front, said quietly, it should be upstairs, be careful. Everyone held their weapons and were ready to attack at any time. And Qinggu, who was using firearms, was protected in the center. They advanced step by step. LuoFeng saw a 2-meter-tall lion mastiff monster with long fur appear from the corner in front of him. It was the size of a large military SUV. When this lion mastiff monster saw the humans, it immediately howled and rushed over with a gust of wind. The Firehammer squad was currently going up the stairs, but the lion mastiff monster was diving down. Wei Tai and Wei Qing, who were at the front, moved almost exactly the same. They held a shield in one hand and a scimitar in the other as they rushed upwards at the same time. They almost brushed past the lion mastiff monster. When they brushed past each other, the curved scimitar sliced across the lion mastiff's front paw joint. Wei Tai and Wei Qing both used the exact same move. This caused the lion mastiff monster's two front paws to stumble and fall unstably on the stairs. And at this time the spear Zhang Ze Hu of the Firehammer squad, who was behind Wei Tai and Wei Qing, instantly advanced. At the same time, the alloy spear in his hand whistled as it pierced towards the head of the staggering lion mastiff monster. Puchi. The spear instantly pierced through the lion mastiff monster's eye and through its head. Hey chich! The lion mastiff monster unconsciously stomped its paws a few times before collapsing powerlessly. Wei Qing, Wei Tai and Zhang Ze's teamwork was indeed exquisite. The first two helped to injure the lion mastiff's front paws, causing the lion mastiff monster to lose its balance. Then Zhang Ze instantly struck with his spear and killed it in one hit. Zhang Ze's marksmanship was also terrifyingly accurate. It actually pierced through the eye. In the process of climbing the building, the Firehammer party had encountered a total of 3 monsters. Their luck was pretty good. And one of these 3 monsters actually charged up from the stairs below. At the time, LuoFeng and Gaofeng were at the very back of the group, so naturally LuoFeng was the one who killed the G-grade monster cleanly. Walking out of the staircase, the 6 members of the Firehammer squad arrived at the rooftop of this 21-story high-rise residential area. Close the staircase. Shut it. Gaofeng said. Don't let any monsters run up from below and onto the rooftop. Yes. LuoFeng and Zhang Ze personally went to the staircase and found a metal rod to block the door. Phew, I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. A rare smile appeared on Zhang Ze's face. He sat on the rooftop and took out high-calorie food and water from his backpack. They all brought binoculars, right? Captain Gaofeng said, everyone take out your binoculars and look down from the rooftop. See if you can find any commander-level monsters. Remember, don't expose too much of your body to the rooftop. If the monsters below discover you, it'll be a bit troublesome. The rooftop was actually quite safe. Normal monsters can't climb up from the rooftop of a 21-story high residential area. Even if a commander-level monster commands the monsters to attack from the stairs, how wide are the stairs? The threat isn't high. The Firehammer squad has more than enough time to escape. Begin searching for commander-level monsters. Brothers, let's find monsters. LuoFeng also took out binoculars from his backpack. Everyone brought binoculars, steel wires and other tools since they weren't that heavy. As he squatted on the edge of the rooftop, LuoFeng could see the streets below him. There were large amounts of monsters everywhere. The amount of monsters in the city is indeed 10 to 100 times more than in the wilderness. In one of the streets, there were at least a few hundred monsters moving. Even a warlord-level fighter wouldn't have a high chance of escaping alive if they were surrounded by a few hundred regular monsters. Captain, they're all soldier-level monsters. I don't see any commander-level monsters here either. The 5 members, including the captain, all held binoculars and looked down from different directions. Only by standing high can you see further. From the rooftop of a 21-story high residential area, you can indeed see far and see a lot of monsters. Ka. A metal box opened. Chen Gu, the only member of the Firehammer squad who didn't use binoculars, opened the metal box. Other than a large amount of ammunition, there was also a rectangular wooden box. After opening the wooden box, there were some gun parts inside. Chen Gu quickly assembled them. After a while, a 2-meter-long silver-gray heavy sniper rifle was assembled, and the optical equipment and sights were all installed. Chen Gu loaded the special bullets one by one into the magazine. There were a total of 10 bullets. Captain, notify me when you find a commander-level monster, said Chen Gu. Okay, go take a nap first and rest up. Leave the matter of finding the commander-level monster to us, nodded Gaofeng and instructed the others. Everyone be careful, don't miss anything. This is the easiest way to kill a commander-level monster in the city. You can see far from a high vantage point. This is 10 to 100 times faster than finding a commander-level monster on the streets. It's also very safe. LuoFeng, Zhang Ze Hu, the Wei Jia brothers, and Gaofeng all held binoculars and carefully looked down. As for Chen Gu, he hugged his heavy sniper rifle and started to sleep. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.